Hello guys and welcome to my very first episode of my brand new series on the channel called Review with PajaZ, Does It Suck? This is a series where we're going to bring up a few topics, or if there's some new updates to certain games or new games in general, we're going to play them, get some experience, share our thoughts around them, and eventually come to the conclusion with a final verdict of a score from 1 to 10, giving it a score and then saying, does this suck or is it actually good? And in today's episode, it's going to be all about the brand new update to Black Ops 4, the 1.17, the Operation Spectre Rising. And this is just not going to be a normal review show. I'm also going to bring in guests in every single episode, so we can have different opinions and different perspectives and basically have a conversation over what we played and our experience with, in this case, the new update. So I hope you guys are excited for that. And in this very first episode, I'm going to be bringing along two of my very close friends, which you've probably seen on the channel before. First, we have a fellow YouTuber who also grinds and streams almost every other day. His name is Oelmheim. You've probably seen him on the channel before. I will leave his link down in the description. He will talk with me, as well as Sparx, which is also a very good friend of mine, which I basically play Call of Duty with every single day. He also has the YouTube channel. If you want to go check that out, their both links will be down in the description. But without further ado, let's go in and discuss the new update, the 1.17 Operation Spectre Rising, and figure out, does it suck or is it actually better for the game? Here we go. Alright, so the first installment of Review with PajaZ, and basically we're gonna come over to Does It Suck, is gonna start today with the update 1.17 Operation Spectre Rising in Black Ops 4. And we're gonna go through a ton of topics today, but we're gonna start off with a brand new specialist. And I got Sparx here and Oelmheim with me as well. And first of all, we're gonna jump right into it and we're gonna take a look at him when it comes to multiplayer. So we'll stay to multiplayer first and we'll move over to Blackout afterwards. So first of all, we have the new specialist Spectre returning from Black Ops 3, but he's a little bit different in this game. And the first thing I want to talk about is his smoke. So Sparx, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I think, yeah, it's amazing. Just the ability that it has, obviously being able to see through the smoke, like people are outlined, and yeah, it was a great addition, I think. Although I do feel like when it, like when you release it, it does take a while. Like, did you notice that? Like when you actually like deployed it,
like before delay. It goes off?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was like a delay, like before he threw it. I feel like they could have like made that a bit faster. No, it was pretty well made.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, like the ability basically, like you throw out the smoke and only Spectre can see through the smoke. So if enemies are in the smoke, they will get highlighted. Do you think that's too OP, Ollie, or what's your opinion about it? Did you like it or do you disagree?
I actually agree with Sparx on this one for sure. The smoke is not OP at all, and it actually plays pretty well. And the fact that they didn't bring back the invisibility from BO3, I really like that a lot, dude.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, I love that too. And another thing, like in my opinion, I feel like it was okay. I think that if you combo his ability, which we're also going to go into, with the smoke, it can be really overpowered, especially in like small quarter maps. Because today, when we played the new DLC maps, which we're going to talk about later, they're all pretty big. Like, it's not like really close quarter gunfights, at least in the two new ones. So I didn't feel like I got to use him really effectively, but I can see him being a lot more annoying in like search and destroy and game modes that are more competitive, because you can really abuse that smoke, in my opinion. So I'm not quite sure. I think it's a little bit early to say, but I thought the ability was really cool. And I really like that Spectre is the only one that can see people in the smoke. Because if the entire team was allowed to do so, like for example with Vision Pulse, that would be broken. So I think it's, I agree. I liked it. It was a cool new addition, and I think it fits Spectre really well. And we also saw the new specialist ability coming in, which is kind of similar to Black Ops 3, but it's a katana this time. It was called the Shadow Blade, the specialist ability. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's great, but the problem is, like you say, in like, unless you're in like close quarters combat, like you've got no chance. Like there's no chance, even with like the ability to roll and try and evade sort of like people shooting at you. You have to time it perfectly. You have to try and you've basically got to strategize like when you're going to use it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if you think, oh my god, I've got the Shadow Blade, I'm just going to go gung ho.
Exactly. Yeah.
Try and rush people with it. It's just not going to work.
When it comes to the third person, I do like it.
You liked it, okay.
Put that out.
Yeah.
And I agree with Sparx when it comes to the fact that it's a little bit too OP on in close range. It is my hands down favorite specialist on BO4 at the moment.
And especially,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And especially if you look at the two other operations, where we had Zero, which is probably the worst character we've ever seen in any game. Like, she's still so annoying to this day. And then we had Sparrow, which was pretty much the same character as in Black Ops 3 ability-wise, that like they didn't change her up a lot. And that's kind of how I really feared Spectre to be as well, that it's gonna feel like the exact same thing, like the recycled character from Black Ops 3, which I really didn't feel like he was. It was a new take on him, kind of like what we've seen in Infinite Warfare with the dog mode from Synaptic. Like, you get this third person and you lock onto people, just like you did in Black Ops 3 when you're close enough so you know that you actually can hit your target at the right time. So, alright, so in general, we like the new specialist. Let's move over to the weapons. And I think I'm the only one who's actually played with the LMG. And based on what I saw, it's kind of like the Gorgon from, or he shoots a little bit faster, but from Black Ops 3. It's like a slow-firing, high-damage LMG. It's not really bad. I think the really good thing about this LMG, which differentiates it from anything we've seen before, is the reload time. Like, it reloads really, really quickly, even without fast mags.
I've seen comments from people about it, and they're comparing it as like it acts as an LMG, but the reload time on it's like an assault rifle.
Exactly.
But they think it's like it's kind of like a crossover.
Yeah.
So it's like half LMG, half assault rifle, which is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like it fills a little gap to make people want to use LMGs a little bit more. It has its own purpose, and basically that you can reload it faster than any other LMG. Yeah. And we have the ballistic knife. We did not see it. We haven't seen it in the game yet. And I want to know, Ollie, what is your opinion? How should they add the ballistic knife? Because I am concerned that they're looking at this weapon as a melee weapon, which is not, because you can shoot the knives. So I'm concerned that they're going to release it in some kind of bundle that you actually have to pay for. But what do you think? Like, what are your opinion? How should they add this weapon, in your opinion?
I honestly don't know. Like, it's a melee weapon, and like you said, it throws. It's a throwing weapon as well.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, for me personally, I think they're just gonna hide it in reserves.
And do you think that's a cool move? Like, is that okay?
No, that's not a great idea.
Because what I think is where they went wrong, because if they're now planning to put this in a bundle, I think they should switch out, or should have switched out, the ballistic knife with the melee weapons you get in the tiers. Because you get it's called Nifo OT Club. I probably pronounced that wrong, but that's the melee weapon you get like halfway through the tiers. I tried that. It's just a normal melee weapon, another skin. It doesn't do anything special. That's the one I would have seen in a bundle if they're gonna do that, because the ballistic knife is different. You can shoot the knives, so it's not like just a melee weapon. So putting that in a bundle, I think, is a huge mistake. I really, really do. And we played with this weapon for many years already. Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, even Black Ops 1. So if you now are asking us to pay for this weapon in 2019 in Black Ops 4, well, we already have so much recycled content, I will be really, really disappointed. But let's just move on. Let's take a look at the tiers. It's only 50 tiers this time around. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, it'd be easier to, you know, gain all like the new, like the LMG and the new melee weapon.
Yeah.
So you could probably skip through the tiers pretty quick. But the one thing I want to touch on though with the reserves is they've added all of the like death effects and the accessories. So they've literally just flooded reserves with trash, basically, with just utter garbage.
Yeah, they're putting like more shit in the drop, so it's like way harder to get anything in the reserves right now. And then at the same time, it's like, because they gotta make money, and I see the point. And the very good argument, in my opinion, that you can't go through with or like say anything against, is that everything in the reserves is only cosmetics. Like, it's only skins or weapon crafts or whatever. So in one way you can kind of say it's fair in that way, because if they would have had the guns and stuff there, it would be ridiculous. Like, for example, if we see the ballistic knife going into the reserves, I think that's a move too far. I still don't agree with how they're doing it. But for me, just to touch back on the tiers, I agree the reserves are trash, but it's only cosmetic, so I feel like, what are you gonna do? But the tiers I really liked, because they could have done 100 tiers with a bunch of stickers and bullshit, and had the melee weapon at level 50, and then the LMG again in level 100. But they didn't actually do that, and I actually really liked that. I don't know if we actually have less time on these tiers. I don't quite remember that, to be honest. But regardless, you're going to be able to earn the tiers a lot faster, and I like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, this operation ends in 34 days.
Okay, so that's kind of why they did it, so...
Yeah, because I think the last operation was 90 days.
Exactly.
90?
But I actually like that better. I like that. I want the content to be frequently changed, and waiting only a month for some new stuff again, that's a good thing in my opinion. That's a good direction. Rather have 50 tiers and then switch out every month than having the same tiers for like 90 days, as you said. So I like the change to the tiers. I really do. I think that's a good move. Alright, so let's now move over to the new maps. We played them all today. I want to start off with Masquerade, I think it's called. What do you guys think? How did that map feel? What was your opinion on the map?
It's too big.
Too big?
I think it's too big. I mean, we played Domination, right?
Yep.
And just getting from your spawn point to B flag
takes a long time.
Felt like it literally felt like it literally felt like, let's say for example, if you're on Summit, it was like you're running from one spawn point to the other side to the other spawn point. That's basically the distance between where you spawn and B flag. It is such a big map.
It was surprisingly large, I'm not gonna lie. What do you think, Oelmheim? What's your opinion on the map?
I played it a couple of times, and I am not a fan of the map, in my opinion. Like Sparx said, it's too big.
Okay.
And when I've played this map, there was only camping. People would not push up, and it's just too slow.
Exactly. I feel like that's a little bit of consequence of when there's new maps, because people don't know how to play them, so they just camp and head glitch, because they know that work, especially in a game like Black Ops 4, where you can't boost jump or anything, so being on, like, really good spots like head glitching. Like, for example, the boat on the side was a really popular area where people just constantly head glitch it, or in the main building in the middle. That's kind of how I feel like, because the map was, as you guys said, really big. And they only use the really, like, high-value spots in the map. Like, the really advantage points of the maps, where you could head glitch and basically have full control over the entire map. Like, either middle or the boat to the side. Or they were just camping back in their spawn. And, of course, I think that's, as I said, a consequence of that being a new map. But I agree. I think it was a really large map, especially for only 5v5. And I feel like people, as they even grow on the map, are still going to use those advantage points a lot. I loved being in the middle on top of the building, because I could literally look through the entire map and just mow people down with my new LMG if they came towards the B flag or even towards the middle. Like, if you have that middle building, you have so much control over the map, unless people don't move. So I feel like that middle, if you are on that building, is really, really powerful. But then again, there comes in the play of, for example, Spectre with a smoke, which can kind of counter that. So it brought some interesting gameplay. It was different than what we've seen before. I think it definitely has to be the biggest map we've seen in Black Ops 4. And I gotta say, I liked it. Visually, I thought it was great. I expected more from the, like, carnival-ish theme. There was just, like, the boat and some piñatas or whatever it was, like, in the middle. I was expecting more. Kind of like Splash from Black Ops 3, where, like, the entire map is super colorful. In this game, on this map, it was literally just the middle, a few things there, and the rest felt like lockup that we just got, in my opinion. But I think it played alright. I think it surprised me more than it did, because usually those maps... It doesn't feel that good, but I thought it was alright. It's definitely not the worst we've seen. I think I can say this right now. These maps are better than what we've seen so far, based on, like, Casino, Lockup, Madagascar. Holy shit, what a bad map. And what is the last one? Elevation? No.
Elevation.
Oh, Elevation. Didn't like the only thing I liked about Elevation is that the map progressively goes higher and higher instead of having everything on one flat area, which most of the maps are. But it didn't play that well, in my opinion. But it's definitely not the worst one. So, well, let's move on. Artifacts. This is the map I was the most excited for. And I love the idea that we have all of these different levels that, once again, it's not just a flat map with a second floor. It's so many different rocks and things you can climb. But my problem with it is there were so many different routes. There were so many rocks and tunnels and shit you could go through that made, like, if you even went towards the middle, you had to watch every single direction in case somebody was head glitching somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, the map had so many different paths, so it got a little bit too crazy. But the map is absolutely beautiful. But how it played, kind of early to say, but based on domination and the few games we had on it, it really didn't play that well, even though it definitely looks stunning. What do you think, Oelmheim, based on your experience? How did that map feel when you played for the first time?
So the artifact is, like you said, is visually is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminds me of Gauntlet, the DLC map from Black Ops 3.
Okay, yeah.
We have 3 certain levels where there's jungle, there's ice, and I believe it's a city.
Okay, yeah. I remember that one.
Reminds me of that one.
Okay.
But the gameplay-wise is it's terrible, to say the least.
Yeah, it didn't like the flow.
There's a lot of rocks. Yeah, the flow is horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I'll say that on almost every single DLC map we've gotten so far on this game.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from the WMD map, my most favorite map all out of all of these is gotta be Elevation, dude. The rest I do not like at all.
I see. I feel like I agree with you in the way of the game, how the game plays. I feel like the Elevation map so far has the best play style and the flow. Madagascar is terrible, and Madagascar is kind of similar in a way to Artifact, being like the right side is really crowded with a lot of things, and the left side is just really open and beautiful, just like Madagascar. But it's not as big as Madagascar. It's smaller, and the left side is so beautiful, like the open area with the geysers on the side. It's just really beautiful. Like, the map is astonishing, but this is a map that didn't play well from day one, and I never think it's going to play really well in the future as well, based on what I see. I think free-for-all could be really good on that map. I think Artifact can be a lot of fun on free-for-all, but that's the only mode. Maybe even Search and Destroy as well could be fun. But it's too crazy for Dom and Hardpoint with all of these different angles, and I don't see how you can play it tactically. It's just it's a bunch of mess.
I say with Domination, where they've actually like put the B flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they've put the B flag, they've put it right in the middle, but they've not put it on an advantage point.
Exactly.
They've actually put it in a way where like everyone's got the high ground against you.
That's actually a really good point.
A good point.
Yeah.
Like the high ground just surrounds you, and like you say, you literally, like, if you've got your full squad on B, everyone's gonna have to take one direction.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Because if you don't, trying to cap B flag on that map is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
That is true.
Like, because you think when we played Domination on that map, you think about how much time B flag was just vacant. Like, nobody had managed to cap it.
No.
Because somebody would jump on it and they'd instantly die.
And people gave up. Like, you saw that after we played a little bit. People just gave no shits about B because they knew it was suicide. So people just played on the sides at the end. Nobody really cared. Like, I was just saying, are we even playing Dom at this point? People are just camping or flanking around the sides because they know that middle area, there's just, like, unless we have huge communication and everybody pushes, and you have Spectre with the smoke, and you have like the dog or like Ruin, like you really have to coordinate so much to be able to take that flag effectively. And when you play like solo like we did, and we don't have a lot of communication with the other teammates, people are just, they don't think it's worth it to go there. So Domination, the B point was terrible. But let's move over to VMD. I don't think we're going to talk too much about this because this is literally the same map from Black Ops 1. I know Sparx played it today for the first time. If you've never played this map before and don't have a relationship to it, I think this must be the most boring map to play. And in my opinion, I never liked it. I always skipped it in Black Ops 1, and to call this a fan favorite was really surprising for me. This was definitely not a map I wanted to see returned. It's not even changed in any way. This is literally just a... It's not even a remake. It's better graphics and it's just put into the game. And this is a part of the Season Pass. It wasn't not even a free map. This is actually based on the Black Ops Pass, which I just really did not like. And that's kind of what I want you guys, your opinion on. Not of the map itself, because I really... It's Black Ops 1 map. There's nothing new here. There's nothing really much to talk about. If you played it, you played it. If you haven't, you're probably not going to like it. But what I want to say is, what do you guys think that this is a map part of the Black Ops Pass that you paid $50 for? You only get 12 maps. This is one of them, and it's identical to Black Ops 1. What do you think about that in general? Is this something you like, or what do you think? What's your opinion about it?
The thing is, this is the 5th remake we've had so far, right?
Yeah. And it's not even a remake.
Game.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the rest of the content we've gotten so far, it's not really, you can't really say it's worth it for multiplayer alone, you know?
No, definitely.
I honestly don't think so.
No. And I absolutely agree.
Even though, yeah, and WMD is one of my personal favorite maps from Black Ops 1.
Okay.
But I would definitely have wanted to see some other different maps. Maybe like Hanoi or Villa, for example.
Yeah, good. And that's what I'm saying, because as you said, you really like the map, so in that case I can see it. But I think most people didn't have this as a favorite. Like, I think people much rather would have loved to see, like, Raid, for example, for Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
Like, if you're actually just going to bring back a map which is completely identical, and you call them a fan favorite, you should definitely choose the more popular ones, in my opinion. And still, I think it's lazy design. I think Black Ops 4 just keeps adding stuff that we've seen before. The ballistic knife was in Black Ops 1. You could use it whatever you wanted. In this game, it's a DLC weapon. Same thing with the auto shotgun. Like, guns that we've gotten from day one are now turning into DLC maps. And in this battle pass, for the first time, we went from 16 maps to only 12. We only get 12 DLC maps in multiplayer in this game, and when one of them right now is just a complete, like, it's the same map, VMD, coming back, Black Ops 1. I paid for the same map I played years ago again, and most of the launch maps as well was like this. And that's the argument. Yes, we get fan favorites back, or do we want something new? In my opinion, I'm more in the new category. I think it's lazy to keep bringing back the nostalgic maps, but it works. They have to they have to put in no effort. And they still make the community happy, like at least most of them, because we get these fan favorite maps back. Let's go over to the new modes, though. As we know, there are going to be new modes coming eventually. We know Prop Hunt and Ground War is coming. We know what Prop Hunt is all about, and Ground War as well is just going to be more players. But the one we really got to see today was not a multiplayer, so we're now going to move over to Blackout and talk about Bounty Hunter, which is basically normal Blackout squads, but you can pick up the Katana or the Shadow Blade and turn into Spectre. And they were all over the map. It was crazy. As you guys will see in the gameplay in the background right now, this mode was crazy. Only talking about this mode right now, what did you like about it, and was there anything you didn't like, or didn't you like it at all, basically? Like, what did you think about this mode in particular?
I think the game mode is a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, alright, granted I was only, you know, I was only Spectre for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
and I managed to get one kill. But yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I definitely liked it a lot. The issue that I saw, though, there's definitely way too many Spectres in one game.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and I saw at the circle, and the circle was extremely big, and there was only 15 people left.
After a few minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely fast-paced, and I'm scared that at the end, it's gonna be extremely slow.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
The circle was extremely huge, and there was only like 4 parties left, and I was solo.
Yeah.
We spoke about that as well, didn't we, PajaZ? Like, towards the end, like in Blackout, like you're just gonna have like 20 Spectres just running around with a katana.
Yeah, most likely. And I think that's a funny thing, though. I think that's something different. So I actually like that. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it would be dope as hell to have one last circle where everybody's just running around with a ninja with a sword. I think that's just a dope thing. I really, really do. And What I really thought about it is, first of all, what I did like is that I loved how they made, like, first of all, when you pick them up, you have to choose the sword as one of your guns. Like, you can't have 2 guns and be the sword guy. And when you use the sword, you only have the sword. You have to switch to your secondary to become normal again. And I love that you had it in third person as well as you run faster, because you're in a huge disadvantage in Blackout where there's a lot of open areas. But at the same time, you're a lot harder to hit in long range because you move so fast and you can roll forward and everything. And that would just make you so dizzy if it was in third person. So I think they nailed that really well, and I love the game mode. But I do not think I want to see the Shadow Blade as a normal equipment in normal Blackout after this mode goes away. Because this thing, for the person who find it, for example in firing range, is going to tear everybody up. If you're a little bit decent player, you can destroy people. But at the same time, I don't know how it would work. Because in normal Blackout, I don't think you would be able to find it everywhere. So it probably will be more balanced than that. But in general, I love the mode. I thought it was a lot of fun.
The one thing I want to know though is in Blackout, right?
Yeah.
If you use Spectre.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say you find the Shadow Blade, and you throw a smoke. Can he see through that smoke?
Is the smokes? Oh yeah, the smokes is in the game. That's a good point. I don't know.
This is something that I want to know.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But if he could, would that be broken?
I mean, if you think about it this way, if people are camping inside a barn and you throw that smoke, that is extremely OP.
I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Get them fuckers out. That's what I say. Like, if they camp in a house, they deserve that smoke, and I'm coming in scaring the shit out of them. I think that's a good thing. Get the
fuck out of my game.
Exactly.
If you throw that smoke outside in the open area, it's not going to be that effective either way.
No. Exactly. But then, finally, we talked about Spectre in Blackout, but what about the changes to the map? The map got flooded, they destroyed Hydro Dam, Wet Works, as they call it, the new update to Blackout, and it basically flooded some of the areas, like the factory is completely almost underwater now. There's some areas that you now can drive boats in, but it's pretty much the same map, just with more water on it. That's basically what they changed. So you can use the boat more, and you can swim more in some areas, or basically other than that, it's still the same map. I think that for me, as I said, it's basically the same map, just with more water in some areas. And how that plays out and how that will affect the flow of the game, I don't really know yet. But to me, it seemed really familiar. It didn't change a lot. And in my opinion, I think the change didn't break the game. I don't think this is a bad move, but it's definitely not anything exciting either. It changed the map so little, and I'm not impressed by water. This is not like something, wow, this is dope. There's water everywhere. That's so cool. No, that's nothing special. But all right, we've been talking for a long time. We're gonna go to the final verdict. I'm gonna allow both of you to, based on multiplayer and Blackout, give a final verdict from 0 to 10, like 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 10, whatever you want. But I first want to ask the questions. What did they do right with this update?
Definitely the Specialist is on my top one for sure. The maps didn't satisfy me.
Okay, yeah.
The weapons are like, there's 2 melees basically and a LMG.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
I agree.
Right? Yeah, I agree with Ollie. Like the Specialist is definitely something that they got right.
Yeah.
The tiers, I think the tiers they got right.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 tiers, you know, 34. There's 34 days on that. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah. If it would have been 100 tiers, 34 days, then I think
that wouldn't work.
Move. But having it as 50 is probably, you know, it's probably right.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the positives, as I agree with you guys, is the Specialist. I think that was great. For once, the new Specialist actually was interesting, and I'm actually going to use it more. I'm not going to say that Sparrow or Outrider was terrible, but it wasn't that good, and Zero was terrible, definitely. But Spectre was great, new addition to the game, even in Blackout and multiplayer. I love that Specialist, and it's going to bring a lot of variety to the gameplay. The weapons, meh. The new LMG is probably the only thing to be excited for, in my opinion, because I'm not a melee type of guy. The melee weapons, you already know how they work. There's no surprise, it's just skins. But the LMG itself, not interesting. I feel like it's been every other, like the only good DC weapons we've seen is the SWAT and the Daemon. I think those were okay, but in the last operation, the shotgun and what was the other thing? The shotgun and the SMG, not really interesting. And the same thing this time around. The LMG wasn't really worth it. It's interesting that it can reload faster. If that fits your playstyle, you're probably gonna like it. It wasn't terrible, but every other gun that you see being used every day, the Maddox and everything else, will still dominate. So it's not like a new gun has arrived that will be the new OP weapon, because that's not the case at all, which is kind of good at the same time. It's an interesting new weapon. It fills a gap that we don't already have. But wasn't a huge fan of it. But my positives, just to stick to that, the Specialist was great. I liked the tiers. I agree with Sparx, 50 tiers. Yes, it's only 30 days, so they pretty much didn't have a choice. But I like that we get frequently new content, or at least it feels like we're gonna get new content more, instead of having one tier system for like 90 or 60 days. So I like that change.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So final review score from 1 to 10. Starting with Ollie, what would you give this update in a whole?
Well, I want to give a separate score actually from Blackout and multiplayer, if that is okay.
That's fine, yeah.
Because Blackout didn't change anything at all in my opinion. It's still the same. You don't have to play the flooded.
Yeah.
But I do like that they added in the Spectre into Blackout.
Yeah.
That is fun mode.
Yeah.
So I want to say like an 8 out of 10 for Blackout. It makes the game more enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
To run around with that katana. It's really fun.
I agree.
And multiplayer-wise, like you said, it didn't break anything in the game. It didn't make anything more horrible.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Specialist came in, and it's good. Like it's awesome, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So I know that the maps they don't play too well. It's good visually, but I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
All right. Fair enough. All right, Sparx, what do you think? You want to split them up in two, or do you want to give one score?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd agree with Wally there. I'd say I'd give the multiplayer side of it. You know, they brought in Spectre, that's great. But the maps, visually great. The way they play, terrible.
Okay, yeah,
so
that's fine.
I would agree with Wally. I'd say 6 out of 10 is probably fair.
What about Blackout?
Blackout. I love the game mode. The game mode they brought in, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that they took out Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Wow. All right. Yes.
It would have been higher if they didn't take out Alcatraz.
Yeah.
But then again, Alcatraz wouldn't be a part of the updates. I think that's fair anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think multiplayer, I thought the maps were the best ones we've seen so far. I just want to not include VMD, because VMD I just didn't like. I know the map, I'm not a fan of it. But Artifact and Masquerade, I think, are one of the strongest DLC maps we've seen so far. But that doesn't say a lot. They're not great. They're like a 5 out of 10, both of them, in my opinion. Just the maps. But the Spectre was great. I love the new Specialist. And that's pretty much everything they did to multiplayer. And I like the changes with the tiers. I love the changes that you can do the moves in the lobby. I thought that was cool. Like, everything they changed was for the better for once. And I really like that. I hated the reserves and all the crap they put in that. But just multiplayer in general, not thinking about the cosmetic things and everything around the Specialist and the maps, I would give a 7 out of 10. I thought it was, the maps are what's taking it down. The Specialist, like Spectre, is 9 out of 10. Just him. I loved him.
Yeah.
But the maps is a 5 out of 10 for me, so it has to be a middle ground. So 7 out of 10 in total is my score for multiplayer. Blackout, I don't care about the map changes. They're not interesting at all, in my opinion. It was more, they flooded some areas. Wow. Nothing fancy for me. Doesn't really change up the playstyle, so it didn't ruin anything either. So for me, I can't just give that a score. So basically the only thing I can do is the game mode, and that's the Spectre game mode, and that was a lot of fun. It's crazy, but it was enjoyable. I don't think it beats Alcatraz. I think I would have given Alcatraz a 8 out of 10, so I will give the Spectre mode like a 7 out of 10. Because it's literally just that you play a Spectre. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. So, yeah. All right. That was the first episode of Review with PajaZ, with friends as well, where we take a topic and we ask, does it suck, and we review it, and we came all to an agreement that this one did not suck. It actually was an improvement to the game. That was it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Sparx and Oelmheim was the guests for today's show and this episode. Both of their channels will be linked down in the description, so you can go ahead and click on them and check them out. That would be amazing if you guys could do. And that is basically it. Hope you enjoyed this video and this episode, and let me know what you think about the new update down in the comment section. Alright, that is it. Thank you.